Many will argue this film should have been a documentary. Others will argue it should have stayed a narrative as it is. But what is undeniable about Ava DuVernay's latest work, it is one of the most necessary and pivotal films of our time. Welcome back to the Venice Film Festival catch-up, my friends. My name is Ren, and this is my review of Ava DuVernay's Origin. Welcome back, Film Festival fans. Thank you for returning to my Venice Film Festival 2023 catch-up to discuss the title I by far knew the least about. And getting straight into the point, it is one I wish I had mentally prepared for, because I was not ready for the harrowing journey Ava DuVernay was taking us on alongside Isabel Wilkerson. As she's grappling with tremendous personal tragedy, she sets herself on a path of global investigation and examines the unspoken system that has shaped America, and chronicles how our lives to this day are defined by a hierarchy of human divisions dating back generations and spanning across multiple cultures, based on the real-life book Caste, The Origins of Our Discontents by the real-life author Isabel Wilkerson. A film that will never make for the easiest watch, but it cements itself as a pivotal and fundamental story of our times. Ava DuVernay has crafted a sprawling work of art that seeks to educate on the fundamentals of caste and how it has continued to this day, tying our entire history together with an interesting framework that might put off some. It truly blurs the line between documentary filmmaking and fictional narrative, because Origin is not interested in adapting the actual book, but rather taking a powerful performer in Aunjanue Ellis-Taylor and following her on Isabel Wilkerson's journey through her research around the world for this incredible book that dates back and connects dots throughout our entire history, the most pivotal moments of human history across India and Germany, and murders happening on the streets these days in America, and how it all connects, how the seed of hate ties it all together. And while the framework is questionable, and I'll have something to say about that later on in this video, it is undeniably moving, with unforgettable images and persuasive ideas that could have only been brought to life with this specific framework. A framework that I personally never was brought fully on board with, but I was enthralled every time Wilkerson made a discovery that gave her a new avenue to explore for this book, for the story she wanted to tell, and a story that spoke universally to the nature of human malice and human kindness as well, and the extremes of humanity on both sides. I was as fascinated in exploring these avenues as much as her, but it is a hard film to sift through. What she sees, what she learns, the images that were shown through exploring these several histories, going back to Germany, going back to India, and exploring all these other people that brought about these ideas to books that educated others along history and that now she is learning herself from. It brings about some despicable imagery, but imagery that Ava DuVernay viscerally explores to illustrate the reality that all of this is our reality. And despite the documentary style of filmmaking, what is never lost is the emotionality of this story, thanks to Aunjanue Ellis-Taylor's quietly breathtaking performance. It is one of the best in all of 2023, and despite my personal feelings towards this format of storytelling, there is credit to be given to how it elevates the raw power of everything she gives us in every frame, where there's so many levels she has to play with, whether she is alone, whether she's sharing an intimate moment with her husband, Jon Bernthal, who is also great in this film, or her mother, or her cousin, or she's in professional mode, exploring all these haunting tales of human history and how so many of them have had ripple effects throughout history and continue to this day and affect all of us on a macro level and even on a personal level. And as she is emotionally reeling for so many of the things that happened to her as catalysts to thrust her upon this journey. Hers is a delicate but commanding, ultimately deeply human performance, carrying an incredibly informative narrative that dives deeper into so many story threads, and fascinatingly, they are tied together through our history, and it does all of this through this unique point of view and structure, but one that I can help but feel I was sitting in a lecture, despite how much heart Ava DuVernay brings to it. It is a film that blurs those lines between narrative and documentary, and I genuinely don't know if the full-on commitment to one or the other would have worked better. I think there's a lot to say. I think there's a lot to praise about this unique approach, but it is one that stopped me from fully connecting with everything. I'm not the biggest fan of documentaries. I get detached from how stories are told there. I've liked documentaries before. I watch some documentaries, but they're never my preferred type of storytelling. And despite having one incredible performance carrying this entire film, the whole of it can't help but feel like a documentary. Something that I just never fully connect with. I would be lying if I told you Origin didn't fascinate me, but it did so through the pieces of information that our protagonist researches and finds and ties together through several story threads, but not so much through the wide emotional journey that it sent me through, how it wrapped me up in all its narratives, and I was just immersed into this world. This style of storytelling is one I deeply respect, but it's never the kind of storytelling I gravitate towards. It's never the one that grabs me. And so, because of that, while I admire many of the qualities in Origin, I couldn't help but think, if I knew it was a documentary, because again, it blurs the lines, it's not fully a documentary, but if it was a documentary, I would have chosen to watch something else. That doesn't make Origin an easy watch, but it also doesn't stop it from being a necessary one. It is an urgent film, a topical film, an important film. It is a powerful story that is bound to touch many hearts. For me and for my tastes, it just stopped me from feeling fully immersed into this narrative and into this character exploration, where I feel we went on this journey with her, but it doesn't really feel like an interesting protagonist because of this very specific approach. That's probably why I don't connect too much to documentaries and I prefer my fiction. I think it's going to touch a lot of hearts, and rightfully so. It's going to connect with a lot of people, and deservingly so. A lot of you are going to love this film much more than I do. I admire it, I respect it, I urge you to watch it, but it's just not one that I see myself going back to again and again. But with that out of the way, as I dive into my final thoughts on Ava DuVernay's Origin, it's time for you to start the conversation about it in the comments below. What is the hardest film you've ever had to sit through? Whether it's because it was a real story, it was too emotionally draining, anything and everything down there. If you're enjoying this review and want to check out more of my Venice Film Festival coverage, it's right up here, as well as last year's coverage. Or if you just want to talk more movies and TV, this is the place to be. Consider clicking that subscribe button, and you won't miss any future conversations on your favorite movies and TV. Origin is an enlightening journey through our harrowing history and its fascinating connective pillars. Its blending of fiction, documentary narrative, veers on lecturing, but Aunjanue Ellis-Taylor's exceptional work is complemented by evocative topics, haunting imagery, and emotional urgency. I'm giving Origin a B-. Thank you so much for watching. Remember to start the conversation with your thoughts in the comments below, and big shout out to my channel members for always supporting the channel. I'll be back very soon to continue to catch up on the Venice Film Festival. So until then, love each other and love the movies.